That's coffee. Hi there. We're going to do a small experience on pulling data from this NewsApi using Android Studio today. And we're going to pull out some articles. And we are going to need an API key for it. And you can get it from this page, requesting it from here. I'm going to copy this request URL for the articles. And this is for TechCrunch. But I'm going to change it to something else. First, I created this string already. News URL. And on the Oncreate method, we are going to take the news URL and make it equal to that string we copied. We're going to change the TechCrunch to CNN. And the API key I'm going to insert it later. But first of all, we're going to create a public class. And we're going to call it async HTTP task. Could make some sense. It's going to extend as a async task. And we're going to pass in some parameters and a string and a void and a string. Then I need to learn to write, I guess. Oh, that was better. And here we're going to implement a method. It's going to give me the red bulb there. And we're going to implement the do in background method. Here we are going to change this to URLs. It makes more sense that way. And we're going to create a string, call it result, make it initially empty. Then we're going to create an URL, call it URL. And we need to import that. Then we are going to create a HTTP URL connection. We're going to call it URL connection. And it's going to be null. And then we're going to take the URL and make it equal to a new URL from the URLs. And the first one. This can fail, so that's why it gives me this error. So I want to implement the try and catch. There you go. We're going to change this to just an exception, so it catches all the exceptions. And here we're going to take the URL connection, and it's going to be a HTTP connection and URL open connection. Then we are going to create a string that we're going to call response, and it's going to be equal to a method. So we're going to create the method first. Down here, it's going to be a string. I'm going to call it stream to string, and it's going to be our input stream. I'm going to call it stream. And there's an exception it throws. It's going to be an IO exception. And here we're gonna have the reader. It's gonna be a buffered reader, and we're gonna call it buffered reader. And it's gonna be a new buffered reader, and it's gonna include a new input stream reader. And it's gonna read the stream like that. I'm going to create a new string. We're going to call it data. And a string, call it result. We're going to actually, it's going to be empty initially. And here, we're going to, this is going to return something. So we're going to return result. You can write it down here. There you go. And we're gonna make a while loop while the data. You think a little, yeah. While the data is equal to buffered reader dot read line, and it's not null. We're going to do something. We are going to take the result, and we're going to plus equal the data like that. And here, if null is not equal to the stream, we're going to take the stream and close it. And then we are returning the result like that. So now we have the input stream with the input stream reader. Then we can create this response. It's going to be the stream to string, and we're going to pass in URL connection and get input stream like that. And now we need to, it's a JSON data, so we need to parse it somehow, some way. So we're going to create a private method. Void. It's not going to return anything. We're going to call it parse result. And it's going to be a string call result. Like that. We're going to have a JSON object. We're going to call it the response. And it's going to be a new JSON object called result. And then we're going to create a JSON array. I'm going to call them articles. It's going to be a taken from the response JSON array and the articles. It gives me an error here. Oh yeah, this can fail, so we need to try that first. I could actually make this just an exception, and this is going to be inside this. Make some space so we see what we're doing here. And here we have the articles now. We could actually take a look at the documentation. So we have the articles, this one, and you have a title, author, description, and an image. But we are just going to pull out the titles. So it's articles and the title. We are going to create a for loop for it. For int I, it's equal to 0 first, and as long as I is less than articles dot length, we're going to increase the I like that. And then we're going to take the JSON object and we're going to name it article in the articles. Yeah. And it's going to be articles I need to think again, JSON object and the I, oh there. And then we create a string, we call it title, and it's going to be equal to article and the string title, like that. So now we have the titles, and that's actually all we wanted. So we can log those to the console. Need to import that. We're gonna call it articles. No, titles. Like that. And we're gonna need another string. It's gonna be the title that we are pulling, not tile. Title. Good. Like that. So now we can pull this out, and I'm just going to copy and paste my key inside here, like that. And now we can actually, no, we can't. We haven't finished our response here. So we have the parse result, and I'm going to put the response in there. And we're going to return the result. And now I think we are good to go. We got an error. It doesn't say anything. Oh. Do we actually have any permissions for internet? Probably not. So we need to include that in the manifest. And it's internet we want, like that. We could try this out again and see what happens. It could be it should be more successful when you actually have the internet permission in the application. So it's launching. Oh, we forgot something very important, and it's actually that we need to execute the async task. So we need a new main activity and the task, and we need to execute that. and it's going to be the URL news URL. That's what happens sometimes. And now it should look way much better because it's hopefully launching the async HTTP task. While we're waiting, we could drink some more coffee. And finally, we have some results here. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 something titles. And that's everything for this session. Thank you.